It's a pleasure to be with you today. This is a Thursday morning and my day off, so I thought I'd come in here and try to catch up with you guys. You guys are something else, but I'll tell you what, I'm so proud of every one of you guys. You're just something else. You really are doing well. You Facebook people, my God, I keep getting these great comments how well. And you see what happens when you work with niceness and ethics and love and stuff. You're getting comments all around the world of how good you guys are on Facebook. Now that should go a lot to you guys. It's a testimony to your higher awareness and to all you beautiful souls out there helping others. And that's just what it takes. It takes a oneness right now to overpower the negative forces, so to speak, and bring back a higher consciousness change. So really good that to see all of you working so hard with others. I know a lot of you suffer hard, and I'll tell you, winning one's health back isn't easy. You guys have seen that by now, and so I don't know what to say about it. We've been lied to and lied to. Now, it's creation. You expect stuff like that, and you have to realize you're on a warring planet. So everything isn't good in Sedona, so to speak. But you have to make it good. You have to be that sovereign individual. You have to be that which is and make happen, because you're already doing that in ways you don't understand, like mind and desires and all this. So you make your health happen the same way. And so a spot of love in that. I'm going to try to catch up a little bit here. There's so many great comments here. People have good questions here. There's so many good questions coming from the world out there that we all could be busy for a lifetime helping and answering them and helping others. So I apologize greatly if I cannot get to you and your questions, because it's just overwhelming. But I will attempt always too, and maybe in the future I can do more of these and help you more, in that way. But helping one person with a problem is helping many people, because the bodies are simplistic in one way of looking at that. So where someone, say, is dealing with hemorrhoids, so is about 10,000 others, because this is part of the problem of losing our connective tissue integrities and things. So that's the one I want to start with, is hemorrhoids, because we have a case here that Eric, and he's been battling chronic hemorrhoids really, really bad. I suffered with those myself from extreme constipation, and that all came from dairy products. And so as you move away from these constipating foods, you still have these weaknesses that have accumulated. And this is a vascular wall weakness. So there are some things you can do to help this, obviously, in herbs. Lower circulation, that's a big one. Prolapsed organs, that strengthens. You could use some type of thing like Preparation H, witch hazel, stuff like that. I've got these astringents, and these are all astringents, but they also, astringents, interestingly enough, are high in calcium, and they strengthen tissue as well. You also want to make sure about the parathyroid gland. You want to take a look at your fingernails and everything else. And this is a case where, this is from Portland, Oregon. They took the broom. When you have hemorrhoids, I probably would be cautionary with the GI broom, because it's going to be real strong, and it is going to bring these hemorrhoids out. Matter of fact, mine had went away for a long time. When I started on raw again, oh my God, they came out like a nightmare from hell. And I didn't have herbs at that time, and I just kept doing raw and kept fasting and working it out, and they strengthened up and never had the problem ever again. So it's just continuing to clean and strengthen, but you can use herbs to help. There's no question about it. You want to strengthen, and the Ultimate Immune might help you a little bit in that way. The ginsengs can help a little bit that way. Adaptogen type herbs can help in that way. But truly, you want to make sure the parathyroid gland is kicking, or actually spend maybe a bottle with the parathyroid gland. At the same time, lots of kelp for the calcium and stuff. And then go lower circulation, which strengthens the vascular walls. And you just got to keep cleaning and strengthening, cleaning and strengthening, cleaning and strengthening. Because this shows acid toxicity, no question, and the loss of calcium out of structure. But vascular wall weakness is very common due to the high protein consumption of man. So he's lost a lot of calcium from eating high proteins. That's the nature of the beast. and you want to put that all back in there, you know, and do your best on this. I'm not so sure, Eric, if fasting as heavy as you're doing is going to, I mean, it's all good, but, and we'll see, that's what I did to get rid of my hemorrhoids, but you have a very chronic case of them here, there's no question. You could also tie a rubber band, no, I better not go there. He's doing a lot of different fastings. His problem is financial, of course. The thing is, Eric, there's some comments you made here, which is he watched the Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and he embarked on a juice fast where I drank nothing but liquid green drinks and fruit juices. I was able to go about 7 days before I started getting dizziness, headaches, and passing out when I would stand up. Now, that's a problem. And that problem, I think, you're going to find in your adrenal glands, my friend. And there was a comment here. No, this is by a homeopath in Romania. She made a comment about eating meat for the neurotransmitters. When we start realizing what's up, yeah, she was spot on with that. But when you get this lightheaded and dizziness, you know, this lightheadedness all comes from the cerebellum and the dizziness. However, the adrenal glands, of course, is very much a part of that autonomic nervous system. And therefore, you're looking at neurotransmitters, low blood pressure. And when you fast, your blood pressure is going to go down. If you're already dealing with kidney and adrenal weaknesses, which anyone with hemorrhoids would be, then you would have run the risk of running real low blood pressure. And this, for some people in today's world with fasting at these levels, have to be cautionary about that. The other thing about that is low blood sugar. Adrenals control sugar metabolism. So this is problematic in that way. I think probably if you're having this much trouble, you want to at least get an adrenal formula, whether it be an herbal or a glandular. Suggest that you at least get a kidney formula and a lymphatic formula. Probably wouldn't hurt to work with the stomach and bowel formula, Eric, for a little while and start cleaning up the bowel structure. But to strengthen a structure, you got to remove what weakens it. Does that make sense? And so what weakens structure is always going to be acidosis. Alkalosis would be rare at the level that would be required. So acidosis is always the key factor here, and you always see it present when the kidneys are not filtering lymphatically, and of course the adrenals are very much responsible for that as well. So those are the areas that you want to think about, obviously. Anything that strengthens, anything high in flavonoids, strengthens the vascular walls. That's all your fruits, berries, and melons. I do a lot of berries and work with that and keep strengthening that bowel wall. Cleaning your gut is real important to strengthening that rectal area. Absolutely. You could implant some Heal-All tea there, just a little bit up in there, just to heal on those hemorrhoids, or actually get some of our Heal-All tea salve. The problem with it, I don't know, we don't have any salves, but trying to get them remade for us. Our company quit making them, and if you've ever tried them, they're so dark and rich. Get a comfrey salve or a anything that has. Let's see, what else would I want? Sipping over marshmallow would be okay. Millen would be okay. Golden seal would be another good one, but comfrey, a real strengthener, and keep a comfrey salve all on the hemorrhoids there and help, especially his is hanging down pretty good, and try to deal with that with the salves to strengthen, and even you can even insert. I've been wanting this for years, is suppositories, so we could implant vaginally or rectally. Suppositories would be really cool, especially with the Heal-All herbs in it, because it just is a well-balanced formula, healing and yet cleaning at the same time. So that would be something you could also do, is use a comfrey or a healing salve and keep on those hemorrhoids and maybe up in there. You could also rectally insert a little Heal-All tea up in there, and not enough to create a movement, but enough to absorb into the wall and strengthen. I would probably do small meals in my life more often with this problem of dizziness, lightheadedness, and stuff. It does show me that you have a real big adrenal gland problem. This is steroids, and then of course the neurotransmitters. So something you want to be aware of. I'd probably still avoid fasting for a while until I balanced out my adrenal glands, because getting dizzy, lightheaded, and passing out isn't in the order of getting healthy. I know you're working on it and you're working hard, but sometimes we have to pull back a little bit and get things fixed up. And that was my point about the herbs. In today's world with such chronic adrenals and kidneys, the fasting days, we have to change it a little bit. And I take a person down the road a little bit, clean them up, get the kidneys filtering and everything else before I really fast them. Unless I'm facing a big tumor or something we've got to get out, then I'm going to try to spend a month or so or two to just really kind of balance that person out. Then fasting won't give you these gnarly type of issues, because that when you see those issues in fasting, it goes right to where your weaknesses are. You know, this is the problem when people get into detox and you start seeing healing crises and you start seeing, and these aren't healing crises though, the passing out, that shows a real problem. When we do these, we go into the raw, we start detoxifying, your body lets you know where it's weak right off. And getting used to that and where these problems are, and I hope on these YouTube channels I can help you understand that more. When you have a symptom, where's it coming from? We know causative factors because you only have two fluids that flow around all the cells, and you only have two sides of chemistry. So if you always keep that in your mind, and when you have a problem, there's only two major fluids, there's only two sides of chemistry, which side's doing this? And blood rarely is the culprit at affecting or breaking down cells. Like I said, by the time the blood gets acidic enough, you're already dead. So this is the problem. It continues to take you back to the lymphatic system. He didn't move his bowels, and that's another thing. During a long fast, you might take a stomach and bowel number like number 2 or 3. I've seen people still get stool out on the 20th day using bowel formulas. But with that said, that's why when you work toward a fast, you go at your fruits and you start working fruits before you fast, and then you just taper down, so there's nothing but fruit digestive material in there. You don't want vegetable material in the bowels. You definitely don't want proteins during a fast in the bowels, or you're going to get headaches and stuff. Proteins is our worst enemy, not our best friend. And that's a problem allopathically. These poor guys have thought proteins were the in thing. And I think, I thought a lot about this, and I feel sorry for the medical doctors that are trapped in this, because what happened, they got trapped in academics. And it's that old saying that if you focus too much on the parts of something, you lose the ability to see the whole. And if you don't look at the body as a whole simplistically and understand how it works, kitchen, bathroom, cells, eating and pooping, cleaning, restoring, learning acid and base, learning a few simple things, you're not going to understand how the body is. And when you're taught in pieces academically, and that's the failing of the professors, in my opinion. Every professor that teaches the pieces should teach the whole in conjunction with, because you always should know how it fits in contact. The problem is there's so many theories out there that looking at something holistic hasn't been the product of the mind. The mind cannot look holistically at something. This is why I'm trying to teach you guys how to be in the now and to step back away from thought in the mind and academics. It's okay to get the academics, but you have to all sit back and review and place and put this big jigsaw puzzle together to a certain degree. Because if you can't, then you're playing with the piece. But this happens, and what about my C-reactive proteins, and what about that, and you can just go nuts into the body, and it's like, okay, and you're down that road of not going to Wellville. You're going down the road of fear and confusion, and that doesn't work. Allopathic measures do not work, except in stat needs to control a symptom. In a lot of cases, though, that starts the hell road to lymph stagnation, like inhalers and prednisone and things like this, dealing with an acid condition. No understanding of causative factors, and we all have to do this. So those medical doctors, if you notice, that are getting into this are more spiritual. They're starting to look holistically at things, and these are souls awakening up. And it's a real pleasure to work with those that are. Those that are opinionated and closed-minded, they've never been a pleasure to deal with, because they're creating karma and living in a world far, far away. And now the whiplash of the dragon's tail is coming. There's been way too many people slaughtered by pharmaceuticals. So you can only do this so long. It's like the government. They can only do this so long. Look at Virginia wanting to create its own money. I don't blame them. Matter of fact, there was a group creating its own money, beautiful money, I have some of it, based on gold and silver. The feds raided them and arrested them and stole their money. You know, it's just what's happening. So Virginia, be careful. The feds will come raid the state and who knows what. I think every state should go back. I mean, it is going to be a real bad shift, but you know, it is what it is. He said, it almost seems like the Master Cleanse flushed toxins out of my upper organs, then sent them down to live in my prostate, bladder, and anus. Well, the trouble is there, my friend, is you're probably not filtering lymphatically through the kidneys, and that's where you're seeing the coagulation, the obstructions, and that's right where you would have them. But generally speaking, when you're obstructed in one area, you're obstructed in all the areas. And Jensen definitely pointed to it, and I thought a lot of people might not have understood that. That's why when we do the irises, I show you the wall of these genetic lesions, how thick they are lymphatically speaking. And it goes to the point that when you have weakened areas, at least the lymph flow is compromised. Jensen also talked about blood flow, but I can't speak to that. I can only speak to the lymphatic flow, and it's definitely compromised in your weaker areas. Well, obviously in a weakened area, you're not going to be producing adequate amounts of whatever that area does. If it's muscles, you're going to have a muscle weakness. If it's endocrine glands, you're going to have hormones or steroids or neurotransmitter weaknesses, or you're not producing adequate amounts. And you know, we all live by the blood, and I think now we should all live by the lymph. And look at the blood a little bit to see into the lymphs, because blood factors are predominantly lymphatic factors. The most influence that breaks down blood factors is the lymph system. No question about it. And it should have been understood allopathically years ago of how interstitial fluid has a profound effect upon the blood. And why do you think the spleen is there and what the job of the spleen is? And so you have to take a look at how the body's cleaning itself and doing, because you have to look at that, feeding and cleaning. You have to look at the body in that context, because that's what all life is a process of consumption and elimination, period. It's the blockages that we develop from the high protein diets, all the dairy products, that creates the obstructions, that creates these symptoms. And these obstructions are lymphatics. And you notice even a lot of the leukemias, we had a little 7-year-old leukemia case coming in here today, and it's just, you see tons of this. And what do you do with leukemia allopathically? You friggin' give them chemotherapy. I tell you, you guys that are giving chemo to these kids should go to jail, and that's it. March now today, and then rethink how you're treating these people. I'm telling you, using acid, steroids, and everything else, I mean, this is a mess allopathically. So the allopathic needs to clean their windshield off and start coming aboard here, getting with this, and then your patients will turn around and give you a big hug and kiss instead of cussing you out in my office. So keep working with that, Eric. I'm sorry, but this is, yeah, kind of long here, but it's got IBS, and with IBS, you have to go. You can use some aloe vera, but aloe is very drying. I don't really like to use too much aloe through the gut, but the stomach and bowel formulas are all designed to help you with that. And take more of them if you have to, or get you some slippery elm marshmallow teas. You want cleansing and strengthening, whether it's the GI tract, whether it's the kidneys. I don't care where it is. These two aspects of life focus right in on causative factors, and then you're done with that. So I would definitely do a stomach and bowel formula along with some lower circulations. You don't want any aggressive bowel formula. You want something that's healing and soothing and strengthening, because you have vascular wall weakness, which again, don't forget the parathyroid gland, lower circulation, prolapsed organs, which is for prolapsus or herniated areas. This is from a female homeopath in Romania. And this is a nice lady. I really like that. And this is an interesting thing I thought I'd talk to you about. I've actually commented on different times. And she was talking about a book written by, several books here actually, written by different docs. And I talk about that a woman's menses is an abnormal process. Now, if you go back and you look at Professor Hotima, George Clements, Raymond Bernard, you go back and study some of the old greats that I have, they feel the same way. I feel that your menstruation truly is a direct product of toxicity, no question. However, and she makes comment that those that go on raw foods stop menstruating. Well, they spot. I've known several fruitarian women in my life, and they generally, as they clean the uterine wall, they generally just spot. And that's the issue. The issue is cleansing. And the uterus is a little home for a little embryo for a while, so this home has to be cleaned, so God cleans it. And of course, acid strips, so estrogen is acidic. So it strips and cleans the uterus. That's why when you have too much estrogen, it starts to overburn the uterus and you have some serious problems. Add that to lymph stagnation and you got double burning. So this is where most of the fibroids and endometriosis and things like this come, especially if you see ovarian cysts come and go. Always remember, ladies, that the pituitary controls menses. If you stop menstruating in your 30s or early 40s, you got a pituitary problem. Fix that and you'll probably kick up your menses again until you're really done the right way. But what I've observed is that the bleeding cycle of a woman is definitely hooked directly into the toxicity level of their bodies. And the less toxic they become, the less bleeding that they observe. And you just see that. It's all about acidosis, toxemia, and how that needs to be cleaned out of the body and the body's efforts to do this. That's why you have an estrogen-progesterone cycle, is that there has to be some cleansing process going on. How interesting it is that the body knows when it needs and how much it needs to clean. Now, with that said, those that have pituitary weaknesses can have aggressive bleeding too much, the wrong way. So bringing the body into balance is really, really important. That's why I have the female reproductive formula. Real strong formula, though, and you have to be careful. Women with undersized breasts can start growing again, but you have to be careful there. One can conceive, if you're on birth control, you can conceive during taking the female reproductive formula. That's how strong it is. I don't make estrogen-type formulas. It's just acids are aggressive. We use, say if you're a female with vaginal dryness, that means your adrenal estrogen is low, and then I would use black cohosh. Those are generally post-hysterectomies where the systemic estrogen now is looked at. Because ovarian estrogen is for the uterus, but there is a little bleed over always. So it's interesting for women to understand that if you want to get away from the cramping and you want to get away from this, as this homeopathic physician is saying, get away from the proteins. Well, you're all finding out that it's the proteins that's the problem. A lot of you guys are finding out the huge difference between the vegetables and the fruit. I had some clients in, they're active Facebook people, and you'll probably be talking with them about their pear juice fast. I was very impressed. Of course, you want to be at home, I guess, when you do the pear juice fast. I've never done pear juice fast, but they've got loads and volumes of mucus out. Now, that is excellent. So you might try a little pear juice fast. I don't know if they did 3 days on pear juice or 5 days. I can't remember. But it was a good detox. When you start to see shreds of mucus in the stool, abundant mucus in the stool and the urine and you're draining, that's what you want. And I'll have to try that pear juice myself. Let me see. Oh yeah, and of course she brings about the differences between the fruits and the vegetables. And that's just, when people give opinions, I prefer to talk to people that have had experiences. And then we can share experiences and then they can come in as they will. But you have so many people that have opinions without even trying it. That's the problem. Like Hippocrates, based upon some bull crap what? If you go and look at some of these studies, these quote-unquote studies, they're laughable. And that one is laughable. So this is the problem, is we've got to get away from this vegetable thinking and more into the fruits, berries, and melons. And most of you have made lots of great comments to see the difference. Now, it's aggressive. No question. Shouldn't be. That should be your standard way. But man's health is so low that, it can be aggressive. So sometimes you have to take your time. But you had some good comments. So thanks, sweetheart. You're good. Homeopath in Romania. Let me see here. I think so. Miles, eyes, engineering. I have to look that camera up. You had mentioned that cholesterol and calcium are needed for the immune system to work properly. No, Well, not so much to work properly. I'll say this, your cholesterol would be, but this is how your body fights acids initially. When you're looking at acidosis, you've got these two sides of chemistry. And if you look at life, there always seems to be the two sides, the dichotomies, the dualities. Well, creation is simply two poles and having and not even in a circle. You see how it goes this way. And that's because for life to survive, you have to be predominantly base chemistry. For life not to survive, predominantly acid chemistry. So those planets that are predominantly acidic, man, couldn't begin to work on those, or over alkaline as well. But cholesterol is an antacid. Cholesterol is the main antacid of the human body. The huge, gigantic lymph system is a lipid-based system. Your adrenal steroids have a pathway through cholesterol. So as you step back and you understand that the body's in a constant process of cleansing and rebuilding itself, and that the acid and the base side has to be understood in that context, and that the acid side is corrosive. It can create a catabolic process, but it has to also do it in balance. So it's just looking at all this. But in reality, if you want to keep it simple, you don't need to know all this stuff. You just need to know that your body becomes acidic from wrong food eating, and that has led to kidneys and bowel problems, chronic and serious, oftentimes degenerative chronic and bowel problems. Now that we put your attention onto the kidneys, happen to look around, starting to see it everywhere, aren't you? And that's the thing. Sometimes people are sleeping. Well, you guys on Facebook aren't sleeping no more. You guys on YouTube are getting awake. And that's the key. We have to awake at some time. And this is the time to do it right now, because things are, the negative sides are expanding and growing. And therefore you must do this with the positive sides to keep that in this level in some degree of balance. If not, it'll crash in on itself, which is what's happening. But that's the nature of it, if you look at that. Calcium is also the antacid of the human body. The body will suck it out of your bones, connective tissue, anywhere it can to fight acids. Because the gig is, if acids win, you lose. You're done. Either you've got cancer, or you've got severe pain or arthritis, or whatever you want to call, or you're under the ground. So that's your body is anyway. So that's the important thing of looking at the body, and what does the body use to fight acidosis? And you'll always see these three things constantly in people's health issues. Calcifications or calcium-related problem, which leads to osteoporosis, scoliosis, osteopenia, blah, 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 depression and all that. And then you see cholesterol problems, which leads to the same thing. It leads to occlusions of the vascular system. It leads to fatty tumors, lipid tumors, lipomas, and then all of these things. And then, of course, the third thing is edema. And you ladies know about edema during acid periods, because your period initially is an acid period, and you notice that you've held water during those earlier processes. And it's just the way the body's trying to buffer and deal with acidosis. And so, however, if you don't deal with it, then these themselves are life-threatening. That's the problem. What is understood as something healthy and beneficial and helps to fight acids can end up killing you. So it's, again, back to the duality thing. So it's understanding that what you're up against and why you would have these problems. Do we also need to eat some fish to get this cholesterol, since fruits lack them? Cholesterol is produced naturally, my friend, by the liver, so you don't have to worry. We don't really look at foods to get cholesterol out of them, in my opinion. We produce adequate amounts of that. I was wondering, maybe the liver creates cholesterol, right, via transmutation of basic nutrients. Well, absolutely. This is what people don't understand. The liver isn't a detoxifying organ. It's a chemical transmutation point. You hit it right on the head. That liver is a major chemical transmutation. I've even heard where there is a thought that the liver is taking glucose and converting it to amino acids. That's beyond my thought, because you've got carbon chains turning into nitrogen chains. I don't know. I tell you what, anything's possible with God, that's for sure. But I don't know that. It's enough to say that the liver is constantly transmutating chemistry from one thing to another. Obviously, and you see that from the glycogen into the glucose to silicate to calcium. Matter of fact, when biological transmutations were introduced in the early 1900s, this guy was laughed at. I still have his book here, and he was laughed at. And I thought, as a chemist, I thought, well, this makes total sense. You know, some of these people have their heads up their derrieres. Thank you, Connie. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate this. This is Ren, R-E-N. Thank you, my friend. Renee. Yeah, so if you're having cholesterol problems, know that, and this is why the statins are ridiculous, because you're suppressing your liver to stop producing cholesterol so your blood serum cholesterol looks okay. I mean, that's baby thinking. That stuff doesn't even satisfy the intellectual mind. Excuse me. So this is the thing. You have to understand that you can't suppress the liver, and just for the sake of blood serum cholesterol levels, you see, I had a lady in the other day, blood serum cholesterol levels perfect. Thick cholesterol ring. Well, this lady can stroke any day, and that's the problem. And suddenly you have a stroke, and where did that come from? My cholesterol's good. That's the bull crap of that one. Even Deepak Chopra, Dr. Wild has commented on how ridiculous the statins are. And that's true. You don't want to damage your liver because you have an acid problem and you're trying to control the blood serum levels of cholesterol, but you can't stop the plaquing of it. That's the problem. And you don't want to. You want to remedy why the body's kicking up cholesterol. First thing out the chute, weak adrenals. Why? Steroids. When your steroids are low, cholesterol-based steroids, your body's going to go to cholesterol directly. If I can't find what I need here, I'm going to find it somewhere. That's because the body's in a fight for survival. This is a fight of survival at the cellular level. And there's 100 trillion little cells there that are fighting to survive. And blood and lymph is how the body controls the consumption and elimination of the cell waste and what cell needs nutritively. And the nutrition, I've said, is easy to deal with. Just change your diet to at least a high level of raw fruits and vegetables, particularly a lot of fruits, berries, and melons. But green salads, green juices are okay. If you want to detoxify deeper, shuck the greens, shuck the vegetables. And you'll see the difference. But, you know, finding some balance in a diet like that's important, but I highly recommend that you fix your problems first. Don't let diet today be the only thing that fixes your health problems, because it's just not doing it. If you have to buy bulk herbs, there's herbs available anywhere. Problem is, make sure you get the organic herbs, you get the right herbs, and you don't get commercially grown herbs, because you don't know what you're getting sometimes. Nicole, let's see here. I would like to start with, oh, thanks, sweetheart. Thank you. I hope I do. Sometimes I get a little ratted out, sweetie, but, you know, it's just I'm so busy right now. I'm trying to take care of all you guys, and it's a blessing to have so many great YouTubers helping others. I've said this before. They're just great healers now out there. And you know what? Don't feel like you have to have your doctorate degree and you had 10 years of study. That generally breeds ignorance. So really don't feel you have to have this. Life is so much more simpler. We've just got caught up in the academics. I mean, if you look at Americans, especially in Congress, if they wear their suits and ties, I just want to say, take off your tie. Maybe you should wear a robe for a while. Question for you. For the past few months, I have been eating as much fruit as possible for living in snowy months. Yeah, absolutely. Minnesota is cold, and you got something coming, don't you? And I have felt great. Wow, that's amazing that you can help keep up a high fruit diet in cold Minnesota. I was just talking to a lady, a friend of mine. She actually was my personal assistant for years and years, Kathy, and she'll be back here Tuesday. But she's up there in Boston, and they got a big one coming. Unfortunately, my teeth have not fared so well in the process. I can feel spots on my teeth where the enamel has worn away, and they have become very, very sensitive. I just recently ordered my first round of your Fab 4 herbs, but I feel like I cannot eat the cleansing fruits, berries, and melons in fear of losing my teeth. What do you suggest? Well, probably go with some green drinks for a while and build yourself up. Check this pH of your mouth, because it sounds like your mouth is very acidic. And that's the problem, is it isn't the fruit, it's the mouth and the acidosis of the mouth. Fruits generate, when you eat fruits, you should be generating an alkaline saliva. You won't get your teeth enamel breaking down with alkaline saliva, because alkaline saliva is what rebuilds. So that's the other problem. Some of these citruses do leave a little acid response in the mouth, unfortunately, but should create an alkaline response. And I think it goes to the poor quality of the foods and the picking unripe of these fruits and stuff like that. You have to consider these other issues. If you just blame the fruits for losing your teeth, then that's off point, because we have so many people on fruits, and nobody, I mean, you might hear one or two people say they have teeth problems. This is already an existing problem. By the time you notice this, it isn't the little fruit you're doing. It's something you're already dealing with, and that's lymph and an acid mouth. So the nice thing about pH papers is you can check your saliva, and you always want to keep it alkaline. Wash your mouth out with some Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt or real salt, something like that, aroba salt, and wash your mouth out with it. Keep that alkalinity going. Make sure your parathyroid is up. I would probably pop on some green drinks of parsley and dandelion. Also recommend that you supplement your body with kelp. That's a high calcium, high iodine. It'll turn on the thyroid, parathyroids, make sure they're working, and rebuild the mouth. At the same time, you see, we kind of get in these catch-22s when the mouth is so acidic that you're breaking down your teeth. That's problematic, and you have to. That's my problem, and so we have to, keep moving this out and draining these lymph nodes and getting all these drained and opened up. And it's just part of the acidosis problem we have. And we can notice it here quite readily. But sometimes in the brain you don't notice it. Sometimes in the heart you don't notice. You don't notice what's going on until you have a bad symptom. And that's the problem. So that's why I'm saying that get on your lymph system and keep moving it as best you can with this, but shift out of those fruits that are going to give you an acid response in the mouth. When you get some dark grapes going, they'll give you a really alkaline response. Alkaline mouth is essential to good teeth and gums. Acid mouth, you'll lose. Acids, you lose everything. Whether it's the mouth, whether it's the heart, whether it's the brain, or whether it's the lungs. Doesn't matter. So just take a look at that and work that out, sweetheart. Thanks, Nicole. Keep it up. Minnesota-bound woman. Oh, let me see. Oh, this is Renee. Let me see. Or whoever is reading this email. That's me. I am an iridologist and master herbalist with a small practice in the New York City area. Yay. I already make my own herbal formulas. Good deal. That I share with my clients. But I am planning on incorporating some of yours from module 8.3 of your book, which I have on my recommended reading list with, thanks, sweetheart. Well, you know what? This is why we need a lot of these people like her, iridologist, master herbalist. She's got a perfect thing going there. That way, there's nothing offensive for medical doctors to think about. She's into helping people regain their health issues, which is none of their business, and that sort of thing. I have most of the herbs in your book and have already created your lymphatic 1 in tincture form, 1 to 4 weight volume, in 50% organic cane alcohol. Good, yeah. And I've got some infused glycerin formulas coming. I'm anxious to see how they work. They're supposed to be 1 to 1, 1 to 2s in this infusion process. We'll see. I've already tasted some of theirs. They didn't taste near as strong, but that could just be me. Since I have most of the tinctures already made, I used one part of all, including poke, which I wouldn't have originally. But you know what? I love poke. And as far as I know now, another herb company told me, said the FDA hasn't moved on those yet. So I don't know what's up. That's enough to say that I love poke root. I love bloodroot. These are strong herbs, there's no question. But in a formula, you're not using all poke or all blood. You're using maybe 10 to 20% at best. Some of my formulas I have 10% poke or chaparral or bloodroot. Others I have 15 to 20. I never really have over 20% much in a formula of any one herb unless it's just a dynamite herb. I think that all of us working together is more powerful than me. And I think the herbs working together is more powerful than one. So it's just, as we work together as a whole, we create more power, we create more knowledge and awareness, and we create a vortex of love. Like these vortexes or ley lines where all these magnetic lines cross, Sedona being one place. You can feel it in Sedona. Well, that's what we're creating. We're creating a vortex of energy here that like a hurricane, and that's important for the people of this planet. Even those that like to control others don't realize how bad they need this. These people are too constipated. Since I have most of the it worked out really. Oh, good. At least it hasn't killed me yet. Oh, quit it. You're a master herbalist. I am wondering what your thought is about ratios. Well, we do the 1 to 4, and that is 4 parts alcohol. Well, let's see. There's probably could be 4 parts alcohol to 1 part distilled water to 1 part herb. The mixture is about 4. And the medium and the herbs about 1%. So you kind of see that 4 to 1. If you get it too tight, you don't get anything out of your formula. You just get a sick goo. And the thing is, you can't really work with that. So 1 to 4 is close. Now it depends on whether you're dealing with flowers, you're dealing with the leaves, or you're dealing with the roots. That's all this, you have to think about that. To me, the whole process of distillation, percolation, all these factors is an art in and of itself. And so that's always been cool to me, you know, how you have to change difference depending on what you're distilling or whatever. However, the 1 to 4 ratio is 4 parts menstruum to 1 part herb. That way you have some goodies there. Most formulas on the market, like Nature's Way, their company called me years ago, and I think they were 1 to 7. Blessed Herbs is 1 to 5, which is stronger than most on the market. Most market formulas are 1 to 6. MediHerbs has 1 to 1, 1 to 2, but the problem with that, with an herbal formula, is that you have to distill it, blow it, reconstitute it again, redistill it again. It's such a long process, and it doubles or triples the price. And really, there's a point where I think you're going overboard and don't need it. I think that this is a perfect ratio. It's as strong as we can get in the proper way, and I just, you know, they work perfectly. It just takes a while to get the body to get this. I'm wondering what your thought is about ratios. Drew thought that I should send this email when I call the question in, so here goes. How should one go about building the formulas in your book? There are no specifics noted. Please advise. I also make your kidney and bladder one. Oh, good. In caps. Oh, that's perfect. I would never take the lymphatic formula without it. Yeah, that's just what you want to do. Standing by for your reply. You know, Renee, how can I help you with that? I have to put some thought to that one, dear one. But I look at most formulas. I probably don't want to have. It depends what I'm doing with this formula, what my thinking is. Like with the kidney formulas, I like to have something that'll reach up and grab the adrenals a little bit anyway. My focus in a formula is the strongest herbs I can find or that I'm used to using that'll have the action I want that formula to have. And so, like kidneys, you know, I don't want a lot of diuretics. I want a lot of kidney rejuvenators. So these sort of things. And it's just, you know, I have a different way of thinking. My mind is just kind of interesting in that way. Hard to explain how I look at a formula and put it together. I've been teaching herbology for so long, I'm familiar with most, but there's always herbs I've never used and not familiar with, and I always listen to you guys and see what you say about herbs, and I'm always willing to try new herbs, no question. It's kind of like a asparagus root. I do have that coming, and I want to see if it really strips out sulfur. Now remember these guys I told you went on the pear juice? They were seeing tons of sulfur coming out with the pear juice, so I thought it was impressive. So we'll see, sweetheart, but I would say that you don't want any more than 10% or 15% of anything in an herb. If you can keep the 5 herbs in a formula, I think that's real good. Some of the formulas, I just add a little kick here and there. This is Dan. I wrote to you a few weeks ago about explaining my situation. I'm a 22-year-old male that suffers from hypoglycemia caused by adrenal fatigue. As I mentioned, I have to eat often to keep my blood sugar up or else I will become dizzy, absolutely fatigued and irritable. Someone suggested I try carrying glucose tablets with me in between meals so I don't have to carry fruit everywhere. I'm wondering what you think of this suggestion. Oh, man. Well, I don't know what my suggestion is of that. When you isolate even glucose, I don't know what to say about that. I like the idea of taking fruits more often. I definitely get up on an adrenal glandular, like these New Zealand organic glandulars. I'd hit on mine, and you got to be running low blood pressure too. Low blood sugar, low blood pressure. So I'd really focus in on the adrenals and kidneys there, no question about it. Check your pituitary just out of the sense of that. But I like that fruit, smaller meals more often. I don't know about carrying glucose. If you have that serious of an adrenal problem, I'd highly recommend you carry your adrenal glandulars on you and go that route. If you're that bad, you might have to carry some glucose tablets. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's enough to say, though, fix your adrenal glands, Dan. I mean, it's easier said than done. I know that. And another problem is, guys, remember there's emotional detox, and there's emotions that suppress adrenal function. Sometimes you hit them with everything you got, and they just don't budge. Had one lady in here the other day with that, and she knows that she's going through some heavy emotional detoxing. And, something sitting on her adrenals, probably her own self. And that's a problem. We come in as souls on tremendous journeys. I've talked to souls that remember torture in past lives, remember a lot of these things, and they come in here with shot adrenals. And if you notice, this is the one thing you constantly see, is the adrenal weakness. So this is an opportunity right now in creation for souls to strengthen that aspect of that. And as the world start going more and more, you'll see the astral influence more and more now. And so that's an area, a big area that most people are suffering from, is the adrenal glands. Can you cure cancer with fruit juice, fruit fasting? Well, gosh, can we use the word cure? Anybody out there like that word? I don't know why medical doctors are. When you use the word cure, it implies that you have a disease. And if you have cancer, it's not a disease. It's simply extreme acidosis. Location, location, location. So, and if you said, can fruit juices clean the lymph system and pull tumors out of the body and rebuild cells, the answer is definitely yes. The problem is can they do it fast enough if you have a deep problem? And that's why I say the herbs are the key. Add the herbs and the juices, and you got the power of nature in every aspect, at least as much as we know of right now, that can help you overcome these things. And remember, cancer is just acid burn of cells. And that comes from what system? Not blood, lymphs. And you notice most leukemias are, again, lymphatically induced. So this lymph system is a big friggin' deal. And since it is the major fluid of the human body, it is a really big deal. And so one has to really pay attention to this whole thing of the lymph, the kidneys, and the adrenals in every case out there, not just the cancer cases and all the cases. We'll use the word cancer since the medical profession has made some of these words common words. The problem is that we have so much law issues here, so much corruption in the law. But if you make a word part of the common language, then you can't claim ownership of those words and then go after people for using or treating diseases or treating cancer because you're making it a common word. That is, definitely an issue in law. Can't do that. So, in terms of cancer, absolutely. I've seen a lot of that without herbs at all, but that was years ago. I haven't worked with anyone here in their health issues with cancer that I have not used the herbs. Some people are real toxic at first, and sometimes we have to use diet first. You've seen this on YouTube where people are so toxic they can't even do the fruits, berries, and melons yet. They have to do the vegetables first. They have to dig slowly. And that's a problem. But you can dig slowly. Don't let anything stop you from getting well. Don't take no for an answer. Get your power back. Grab your strength back. Don't let anybody run you over. You're the beautiful one here. You're the soul. You're the God force. And you've got to accept that and take that on. The problem is in our societies we breed fear, we breed inferiority, we keep people's adrenals shot, and that way you've got someone that you can control. Well, we're not about control, we're about awareness. We don't want to control anybody. We want you each to have your own awareness, your own joy back, your own happiness, and work from the God position of divine love. Sometimes divine love is hard. You know, it's not all love and joy and happiness sometimes. You know, sometimes there's some hard lessons God or karma dishes out, and it's not a lack of love, it's for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. Oh, I love this. This is Ryder J. This is Ryder J253. Got a nice haircut there, man. You know, when I had a haircut like that, they said my ears were kind of big too. Can you have a bowel movement on a juice fast without an enema? If you use the bowel formulas, you can, and there's nothing wrong with using a bowel formula, in my opinion, like a number 2 or a number 3 during a juice fast. There's going to be a point these longer fasts you're going to quit having stool, but if you can get most of this stool moving through you out, you're going to feel a lot better on that fast. Having a lot of food in the gut on a fast is not pleasurable and definitely not conducive. It might even give you headaches and stuff because of the fermentation or, God forbid, putrefaction. So really, you really want to clean your gut up before you go on these. That's why I highly recommend you spend some time cleaning out the bowels and the kidneys and get them filtering and everything before you do serious fasting. Some people have to fast right now because of their conditions, but I would be a little cautious, you know, and get everything opened up first. Then your fast is going to be pleasurable, except for but I'll tell you, using self-discipline is a turn-on. It's almost like an adrenaline rush. The more you do it, and that's what happened to me. I just kept pushing myself and pushing myself. But you stop someday and go, oh, look where I've been, you know, and that's what you have to do sometimes, and then balance out. Because I can tell you, most of you are already aware of it, that if you don't balance out, you can become a real pain in the ass to your friends and yourself. And that's a problem. You know, you want to always work with love and balance and give the right to others as you would want your right to yourself. And that'll always keep you right and always keep you in the God force, because the God force has to work through you, through your consciousness. If you're busy thinking and desiring and being me, God force can't work through you. So you quit being the little me, and become the big me. That is a big me. Yeah, I think I'm already dependent on enemas after 2 weeks on them and 5 days off with raw food and no movement. Now I'm off and on them. That's why I like the herbal formulas. I really do. I think that they really help in terms of fasting and cleaning out that. But of course, you know, if you live a while without food in there, it's going to take a while to get the food back through it. All I can say is spend some time away from fasting for a while and dig in first, and then clean that bowel out real good before you go on extensive long fasts. I don't like the enema connection, but when you need to, because it's better to move the bowels than not. But I don't like getting in the habit of enemas when you can use some herbs that is not addicting, they're not laxatives, but they have a little neurological pickup to them, like Cascara sagrada. A lot of people have given bad raps to Cascara sagrada like they did lobelia. The problem is Cascara sagrada is one of the better ones of them all. Use that for years, non-addicting, unless you just pouring it down. But that's not the goal. One has to learn what nervous system controls the bowels, which is the autonomic, and who's at the seat of that? The adrenal glands, absolutely. So you've got to bring everything up. If you're having trouble with constipation, think about brain and nerve, get your adrenals kicking up so you can get neurotransmitters kicking up. Clean that bowel wall. Remember, in the wall, interstitial lymphatic constipation, in that wall. Remember, acidosis breeds dehydration. Dehydration breeds an anionic environment, which is an environment of conglomeration or coagulation. And so things get hardened the more acidic they are. You know, this is all about pH variances. And you could go nuts thinking about that. At one level, the lower pH, like estrogen, you have aggressive moves. Too much of that, then you have the breakdown of cells. And as you go down toward the lower pHs, they can rip you apart. You know, the same thing with alkalis, though, to be honest with you. That's why don't try to get too alkaline. You got problems that side, too. You want balance. And the balance is on the base side or alkaline side, no question. That is balance. That's why you see this in creation, not this. I was wondering, if we can't get fresh fruit, is it okay to use frozen fruit? Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is V. Reed 27. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. But that's where you can get organic pretty good, is when you go to the frozen, when you can't get it fresh. But anything down from frozen, there's just nothing there. Canned or anything like that, even jarred, there's nothing there. So you either got fresh or frozen, in my opinion. Survival in the future, maybe dehydrated foods, you know. People on earth lack spirituality, they lack love. Well, he couldn't have said it much better than that. A lot of them have it. I think the problem is again, going back to why God has creation set up like it is, and why the power of the mind. Because if you don't become somewhat unconscious, you're not going to stay here. That bottom line is, any of you have had out-of-body experiences and traveled in some of these incredible worlds of light and crystals and colors beyond belief, there's no really wanting to come back here. I mean, there's just nothing. It's just so claustrophobic, and especially claustrophobic to me, but constipating. It's just the consciousness. But you must come as the knower. And that's what I'm teaching you guys. Become the master. Become the God force itself. Get God consciousness or self-awareness to where you don't care what this world's doing, because you live in the all of it anyway. And so you're always living in the succor of the rapture of it. And that you exude that by how you give love, because you don't care about this world. This isn't your world. You're only here to play, or those that wake up learn that play is over. No, don't have to play here anymore. There's too many neat places to play besides here. Now it is giving and helping others to lift up. And that helps you to get your journey going, because it takes you away from this planet and it builds good karma, if you want. I agree with this exponentially. My question is, how can we save a species of people who lack moral and spiritual beliefs and don't aspire to learn how? Pain and suffering. I mean, basically, somebody hits you upside the head with a hammer. I mean, this is why you see so much pain and suffering out there, is because man keeps himself ignorant. Until he wakes up, he does not. You notice that not everybody can open this door. This door that you guys are at right now is closed for a lot of people. And it's funny, they'll open maybe the Hippocrates door a little bit and peek in, and maybe they'll go to Durian Rider and peek in, or they'll, you know, any of these guys that's working out there, they'll peek in or close it, and some don't even get to those doors. And it's all about your growth and what you're ready for. And you just can't have some people come and say, I wish I'd found you, but it wasn't their time yet. You know, the motivation to find truth is unhappiness with what exists. Pain or suffering, unhappiness. You seek outside of what your world is, and you have to realize you're creating all of this. But no one tells you that. That's what I find about our educational system right now. We need to drastically shift this educational system, because you see the young souls coming in here. They're not, these are the advanced souls. They don't need to go to school 18 years or however many years people go to school here on this planet. You don't need to do that. These people are already these souls are already highly aware. Yeah, I'll teach them a little academics here or there, but focus. You know, what do you like to do here? Learn that. Don't cram in the brain. I always felt sorry for medical doctors going to medical school, because these schools are a bunch of crap. No offense to you guys, but you know, when you're crammed, because I spent a lot of years in emergency rooms, and I've seen new ER docs, and you know, you're so crammed with stuff that you'll never use, and never taught the overview. And that's really why I like naturopathic schools, because they don't always have the overview either. At least those naturopathic schools that are ran by more people like me as opposed to medical doctors. And you're going to get by who teaches the school. That's why I make sure who the dean is, always, and what their consciousness is, because do I want to learn something I'm not going to use and waste my time? No. And that's the problem. We don't have that kind of time anymore. Now is the time to grow in the area that you're interested in, not in all these other areas and try to be some academic guru, because if you notice, it isn't working anymore. And those academic gurus are out of touch with life. We got an academic guru as a president in the States now. He's so out of touch, he thinks borrowing more and taxing more is the answer. I find it interesting that Texas schools will want to examine socialism and communism as a teaching tool now. Well, I think my friend, this is it's happening. You keep yourself awake and you teach. And I think that what you're seeing is people are suffering so bad, they're seeking help with that. That's why I've talked to you guys before about why I'm doing it this way, because I can come in the back door this way. Because as you start to shed your obstructions, and you notice those on a fast, how it quiets the mind of its chatter, and you just happen to be more focused, more relaxed, and even actually less focused and more awake, absolutely. And so people are having to go to this step to unfold, to let go, to rid, because get this isn't just don't tell anybody, but this just isn't a physical detoxification, is it? A lot of you come to me and said, oh, I'm in emotional detox, and there's mental detox, and then there's ego detox. That one's a butt kicker, and I only have to tell you that when you get to that level, you're almost home. And when you get to the ego, remember, let go of yourself. Doesn't matter anymore about the little self. Doesn't matter about Robert, Jane, Jim. Doesn't matter anymore. The bigger self is better. So you have to let go. That's the clinch. That me. That's your catch. That's your obstruction. That's your limitation. It isn't me. It's all. And that's the key. 1, 1, 1, 1. 11, 11. Stand individually and stand together. We're individuals, but we're one in creation. Outside of creation, there's only the one. So, good. I'm glad you see that. I like that. How do you suppose to can reach a state of pure consciousness, especially when the majority can't even define the term? Well, it's happening. And if you look back, more people or more souls are awakening now probably at any given time in history. Before then, you had to travel and find some guru or master, and you always had spiritual beings on the planet like Jesus and Buddha and Enoch, and since I got jumped on for mentioning Mohammed, then I won't mention Mohammed. But spiritual beings on the planet teach love, teach oneness, teach joy, teach that God is one. And that is the beauty of that. If you go back and read the agnostics or the Essenes, there's good stuff there. And it just shows how Christianity morphodized that into the self and fear and control again. And it's time that religions and medical professions and governments forget the fear. Let's unite as one, and let's have a party with fruits. Let's get our act together as a planet. Don't think that's possible, because you got to realize that as people are creating karma, it has to be re-experienced somewhere. It has to be paid for somewhere, this planet or another. So you're just on one of those warring planets. The fact that you're awakening is the key factor, and that's all that's important, is that you are awakening. As you awaken, your love will go out and help others awaken. Don't worry about others. Only be in the eternal now, and learn that the mind is not your enemy, but it is your biggest obstruction to God there is. And it's designed that way, because if the movie's good, you'll stay around. Do all your cures involve supplements you sell? Oh, no, you just read this one herbalist. I'm only telling you about my formulas. I made them for my clients because I didn't. There's not at the time. If you go back that many years, herbal formulas were scarce and hard to find, and you had to make yours. And then more formulas came on. Herb Farm came about, and a lot of herbal companies started making herbs, etc. came in, and you started seeing more formulas being made and stuff. And I've always made them for my clients. But I thought, this, and I've been pushed for years to do this, and just pushed and pushed to get this out. So I talk about mine, but you can definitely make your own. Look at the herbs I have in mind, copy them. I don't really care, to tell you the truth. My message is about God consciousness and about wellness and how you get well physically, which will lead you to your spiritual sucre. Doesn't matter what you believe in, but just remember, in your belief system, make sure your belief system takes you into the heart of God. If it doesn't, change your belief system. But cures, supplements. I don't like the word supplements either, to tell you the truth, because supplements really donate more isolates. And isolates is where we go in with our ego and think we know better about chemistry than nature does. And then we try to put these formulas together. And, you got to use this because it treats this symptom and that. Notice when you use supplements that you will always need them. Because when you come off of them, your symptoms come right back. Because you're doing the same thing with supplements that you were doing with pharmaceuticals, except you don't have the toxic side effects. But you can unbalance body chemistry, and there have been some people who had serious problems with supplements. I don't go that route. I think that the herbs are more tissue specific, and knowing what you're going after is very important to why you're getting you to Wellville. You got to know what you're going after. That's why I've laid all these videos out for all you guys to get this. And remember, you're gonna discover and do better. I am totally happy with what I've found and how I put this together for you guys, and you guys take it and run. Dimitri, all you smart guys there, you just are brainos, and you're gonna do better. Be careful about getting waylaid, because through the years, even though I come off and we're simple and we give you a simplistic view, we've tried about everything under the sun here. And we've got stacks of supplements and products that people want us to buy and use and stuff like that. We've tried them for years, and to tell you the truth, if they're not herbal, flower essence, or essential oils, I don't even look at them. Because it doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to use them. I don't use inert dirt. I don't get my head down in the ground. We got to get our head up out of the earth, not into the earth. So man's fixated with minerals. So suddenly minerals cures everything. No, they don't, and their electrical charges are low, and they're not readily absorbed. So you see the gig of minerals is trying to get minerals that are more bioavailable, more absorbable. The problem is their charges are low, and they become obstructive. They're more stimulants. We don't want stimulants. We want dynamic cell performance. I like that. Dynamic cell performance. Yep, that's our new phrase for the day. Dynamic cell performance. This is S. Perkins. Do you have any videos or advice for someone with Hasimotos and low levels of T3 and T4, but not elevated TSH, pituitary? Funny how you guys are getting this so well. I love you all. You know what? That's when you use a glandular. But notice that if you look in your eyes, most thyroid weaknesses are either genetics with a lacuna or lesion, or you have a lot of lymph stuck there. Remember, lymph is like, when you guys start seeing these tons of mucus coming out of you, just think, if you're a cell in a huge wad of mucus, how your performance might be. So when you look at a gland like the thyroid, it's made of cells and what? Blood and lymph. So what would make a thyroid just suddenly go, I'm not working okay? It might come in this world with those memories, but it also might be getting suppressed or stimulated in hyperthyroidism with acids. Acid can hyperstimulate. Look at estrogen. Acids have both factors. They can stimulate or they can innervate and destroy. Initially, they can hyperstimulate a tissue. So you can see this bradytachy, especially with a hypothyroid. You get a bradytachy, fast heart rate, low heart rate, tachycardia, bradycardia. You see that. You can see that in all aspects of life there. 1 minute blood sugar low, 1 minute up. You can just see that movement and stimulation of cells. You're not going to go to the blood for that because you've all changed your diets. You're going to go to the lymph now, and you're going to fix that lymph system up, and that'll help the thyroid. That's number one. In the process of doing that, you want to use maybe a glandular or thyroid herbs. Thyroid herbs a lot slower, especially when you have a big wad of mucus and you're getting polyps in the thyroid. That means your lymph system isn't moving well here. Probably not in the jaws, probably not well all through here. Notice more people are having tumors all over this area. Sad. They are, and it's a nightmare from hell. Voice box cancers all over the place, throat cancer, esophageal cancer, palate cancer, eyeball cancer. Jesus criminy. It's a mess. The humans are a mess. And as the one gentleman said, or lady, the spirituality is stagnant, as most people's bowels and urine. So this is opening up and bringing that fresh air in, and you guys are playing a vital role in this. Don't underestimate why you're to this YouTube site. I want to tell you, you're here on a mission and you're awakening to this, and don't let go, because you'll see why you're here, both for yourself and for the world at large. This world is in big trouble. And that's why developing your awareness will only help to push the negative side out and get the mind in control like it should be. Right now, the mind is running out of control, but we've promoted that. So that's what I would do. I would definitely get in a glandular and use a glandular to pop that up. While you're doing that, check your parathyroid so you can hit both of them at the same time, because if your thyroid is down, chances are the parathyroid is down with it a little bit. And if it's not a TSH, then it's not the pituitary. And it could just be the thyroid itself, and again, it could be genetics. And still, if it's genetics, that's just memory patterns of cells. You can change that. As you can break down and augment the DNA patterns and chromosomes, you can also change them to the other way too. You know, this is a two-way street. Creation just doesn't have the negative side, it has the positive side. Both sides are just opposite sides of the same coin, even though we tend to like more positive side, but there are a lot of people that love the negative side. You know, this world is crammed full. Now, a lot of people don't realize this because a lot of people don't see what else is around. But these universes are full. They're frequencied. I mean, it's unbelievable what's out there. And it's just, it's fun to open the window and start looking at the allness more instead of our little bitty troubles and our little bitty houses and our little bitty homes. Okay. My cousin's 5-year-old daughter was diagnosed with, this is a good one, Thalassemia. Never heard of that one. This is a hematological disorder, and I think it's in the same family as hemophilia and sickle cell. Have any of your patients been treated for this? I've never heard of that one myself. Have you successfully cured it? Can it be cured? If so, how? Thanks. You know, I really haven't heard of that one before. And every day I hear something new out there anyway. Names for this, names for that. I'll tell you what, whenever you're dealing with anemia or anything related to that, like sickle cell and all this, you're going to go into your bone marrow. This is number one. You're going to rebuild and build up your bone marrow. Well, this is where the ultimate immune, but I've got another formula coming for bone marrow. There are Chinese formulas out there for bone marrow, so you want to get into your bone marrow and start building your bone marrow up. But you also want to keep in your mind what could be breaking down bone marrow, and you're going to go to acids and you're going to go to the lymph. So you can increase blood flow to bone marrow by using a lower circulation. You want to clean up the liver, clean up the spleen, no question about that. Get your kidneys filtering, get the adrenals on top, getting the kidneys turned on, and start filtering the lymph. At the same time you're fixing why you're having a problem, you're also going to come in and enhance the cells in that area. So building up the bone marrow would be very key. You might do a little thymus, do a bottle of thymus, or do some thymus thumping here to enhance T cells, stuff like that. But you want to get into the bone marrow and work with that and detox walks that little 5, and this is a little 5-year-old. So she's got some serious genetics already at 5 years old, especially dealing with bone marrow stuff. So that'd be something that you want to clean up and deal with. But I'd clean her little spleen, her liver up, and get her little cut. 5 years old, you know she's got kidney and adrenals. Get that lymph moving. Get a picture of her eyes if you can at 5 years old, and take a look at them and see what's going on in there and see what she's up against. But that's what you would do to get into this in any of the hematological type of problems. Dr. Morse, I have heard the claim that it is difficult to obtain vitamin B17. I have recently heard of a company promoting apricot seeds as being an excellent source of B17. They are very expensive to buy. Is that what you would recommend buying? No. Anybody like apricot kernels as a food? No. Laetrile is no different than castor oil or something like that. It helps to loosen up hardened masses. Is it a cure for cancer and acidosis to the cell? No. Keep in mind when you say cancer, what it is. Allopathically, these guys have no clue. You know that it deals with the damage of cells by acids. So when you look at what it really is, instead of some phantom crazy disease that's consuming all these people, realize what's up. People are losing their kidney and adrenals, their lymph systems are backed up, and they're burning their cells. Bottom line. B17, more of an anti-inflammatory perhaps, but you know what, we used to bring it in from Mexico here and everything else. I don't even deal with B17 Laetrile anymore. I wouldn't even think about it. Apricot kernels has some little B17. You'd be consuming them till hell freezes over. And what would you be doing? Are you moving your lymph? Are you getting your kidneys filtering? You're getting your adrenals up, your steroids up? You're moving these acids out, rebuilding the cells? No. See what I'm saying? We got to get out of these treatment-based thinking. And it's all over the place. And it's that way because of medicals. The treatment. We treat this disease. Get rid of those words treat and get rid of those words cure and disease. You're going to get to Wellville. I like the word cure myself because you are curing yourself from a problem, but not from a disease because they don't exist. If you live in the world of diseases, your life will be hell. If you get away from this ridiculous concept and you get into actualities, facts, then you're more empowered to do something about it. You're not left to some insane maniacs that think pharmaceuticals is the next best thing to honey. Is there another way to get this very important vite? I heard the theory that us humans are so void of the vite, that the vitamin, that is why our bodies are full of cancer. Yeah. Thanks for the comment there, Samantha, from Nova Scotia, Canada. You know, that's the problem. And I would say get your head out of that thinking and come over to the cool side of life. And then you'll have a lot better, you'll have your tools for remedy and everything will be good for you. When you get into these deficiency concepts and everything else, it's a no-brainer. You go nowhere, no one gets cured and everything else, and people spend a lot of money and import Laetrile, and then the FDA gets upset, and then you fight with that, and it's blah, 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 when the remedy's right in front of your face. Let me introduce myself. I'm Petrie. I am 33 years old. I am married and have one child. He is 5 years old. I live in the Czech Republic. I got your book, which is very interesting. I read it again and again. And why did I get your book? It is because of my health problems and I don't know how to heal it. Okay? Reduced thyroid. And we just talked about thyroid. Whenever you see a reduced function of a cell, and you see that happening more and more as you're getting older, then what's happening in your body as you get older? You're losing more lymph drainage. And one of the things you see a lot, of course, is what? Thyroid polyps. You know, nodules in the thyroid. These are little tumors. Just like polyps hanging from the colon. These are little tumors. Where they're coming from? They're coming from the interstitial levels, and this is in and around the cells that make up the thyroid or the bowel or wherever. This is the lymph system not going anywhere fast, and that's what you don't want because it is suppressive, but being acidic is damaging in time. Till then you get a swelling or a goiter or suppression of the thyroid, or it can create hyperactivity as well. All these people where all these docs recommended, even naturopaths recommend iodine. Oh, really? Yeah, that's the quickest way to get hyperthyroid there is. Taking iodine by itself is a very dangerous practice and not one highly recommended. Better to take kelp. Then you have radiation protection, you have everything else. But to use iodine by itself, not good. And then remember, the lymph has to clean. So some of these things, we see all these red iodine spots in people's eyes all the time because they're not metabolizing it. And the body can't carry it away because the lymph isn't moving well. Not good to play chemistry like that. Nothing good comes of it. Cure doesn't come from it, and so it's just a bogus, a lost world thinking. And in the new world here on this planet, if indeed we're going to create anything for the future for souls to come, and whether that's important or not, I don't have a clue. All I know is this is what we need to get out right now. Whatever happens in the future, and God and this level of creation, so be it. I don't really give a hoot. Not my. One way of looking at it, not my world, and another way of looking at it, it's all our world. I treated with it when giving birth. It is about 5 years. I don't take any other medications except for natural preparations, probably from September when I had some flus plus antibiotics. The pain in the right hand started and left hand as follows. Nowadays I have moving stabbing pains in the hands and feet, joints and muscles. Well, these little stabbing pains come from acids. Those little acids hurt, like uric acid is a little pinprick pain. And so, real serious to get your, and this just shows your lymph system's backed up, probably backed up all the way in the head and the thyroid here, and it just shows what you need to do here. I underwent a neurological examination, a magnetic resonance, EMG, muscle, and blood tests, all negative. That's what I'm saying to you, and that's why it's acids. And you see this a lot, people coming in here with a lot of pain and different things, shoulders, knees, wherever. They've done the MRIs, the CAT scans, can't find anything, and the next word out of the medical doctor's mouth is all in your head. You're just imagining this. What of an insult. A medical doctor that says that's not very bright. They don't understand acids, the lymph system, and everything else. To tell somebody that came to you because they're in pain that their pain is in their head isn't professional. Because you don't know, you should say, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with admitting you don't know something. And you should always do that. Because it doesn't get you anywhere to try to ego it out and say, well, if you don't know, you don't know. I am already stopping believing in doctors, looking at me as if I conjured it up while I'm in great pain. See, this is another case like that. I am very unhappy from that, and I do not know how to continue. I go to detox the lymph system. I started with your diet. It means fruit juices, vegetables, vegetable juice. I measured the pH morning, so now I'm about 6. It used to be 5.3. I hope that's not saliva. I would like to ask you how to continue with care. I am able to come to your clinic. You don't have to come here, guy. Easy to do this. You got a ton of people out there on the Facebook sites and YouTube to help you. But start off with the kits and start moving your lymph system, getting your kidneys, adrenals. Call in, have them help you with your protocol or something. There's a $150 protocol I do for you. If you want to do that, call in and start on. I've laid out pretty much through these videos just the protocol I would use in going after this. And I use 2 kidneys, 2 lymphatics. I like to use 1 capsule, 1 liquid, and I go after that lymph system. Always remember you got to pick up your adrenal glands. Obviously you got to pick up your thyroid. Now this is a case where there could be a pituitary issue. That's why you guys love the iris work. The iris work is so easy. Iridology, and like this one lady that's an iridologist and a master herbalist, that's what you need. It's simple to do iridology, and herbs are simple. You don't have to know everything about herbs there are, and impossible. No one does. You don't have to know all the chemistry of this. It's not necessary. If you want to be a brainer, fine. If you don't have to, be a simple healer, a simple God person, and they're more important than any academically educated person out there. That was the early on fight we had when people were saying, well, academically you were in a school over in Europe, and academically, and I'm going, oh my God, academically, who gives a hoot? You don't learn this stuff in school. That's the problem. You don't really learn until you get out and start working, and then you start seeing that school only gives you the basics. Where you get your information and your knowledge is by working real time with people. It's like some of you medical doctors, you get out of school, you don't feel like you're a medical doctor yet until you really start using it. Get in the ER, start getting your clinicals, and you start working with it. Take on that persona. There's that concept, and then that concept has to filter in and become reality. And so it's just that sort of thing, you know. So academics are fundamentally basic. Get your basic stuff, your A&P, anatomy and physiology. I'm giving you the overview of that so you can fit all that into proper context. At the same time, learn the herbs, how to use them. We're helping you there, teaching you there as much as we can. I will do some herbal videos sometime for you, get into the different herbs and what I like about them and stuff like that. That might be a fun video. I just want to kind of catch up. I don't even know if that's possible. But there's a lot of thyroid questions, and I have covered that on video after video after video here. I'm going to have to cut off here in a minute here. Dr. Morse mentions the GI Broom. Is that a product name? It is a product name. It's basically an intestinal broom. I filled it full of astringents. There's nothing like it on the market, and you can see how well it cleans you. It's just an aggressive cleanser of the GI tract. The idea, hopefully, is to try to reach through the wall, to reach in and pull some sulfur out and really get this malabsorption problem fixed in most people, because you notice those who are malabsorbed are going to get skinny on this program. And you can't help it. You have to fix this problem before you can put adequate muscle on. So we've discussed the thinness side of this, and there's nothing you can do about it. What's the difference between the lymph formulas? Is 4 stronger than number 1? Yeah, I've tried to talk about some of those in the past, but what you're going to see coming out is lymphatic 1, lymph node 1, lymphatic 2, lymph node 2, lymphatic 3, lymph node 3, and lymphatic 4, lymph node 4. So they both can run concurrent. In the lymph node formulas, I try to put more herbs that are more lymph node busters, that are more dealing with lymph nodes that we know of, tumors, cysts, things like that. On the other side, which still those herbs do the same thing, but I try to get herbs that are more lymphatically astringent and in the lymphatic formulas. So lymphatic 4, good question, is an astringent formula. I wanted to play with more astringent, so lymphatic 4 is pretty astringent. Lymphatic 3 came out of these 3 or 4, bitter melon, matamba, graviola, what's the other one? But anyway, those are all real strong. Matter of fact, lymphatic 3 is almost too strong to start with, and real strong on the lymph nodes. Better to go down to the other ones first. Lymph node 2, very strong, very strong. As you notice, we discontinued the capsules because they were way too strong. The lymph node 2 formula in a tincture is real good for the lymph nodes. But that you just play with all these. I've got different ones so we don't stay with the same herbs repetitively, that we can play around a little bit with that. My lymphatic 1 was my first lymphatic formula. I simply love that one. The testimonials around that one alone are a mile high. So I really love that one as the general one. But you're going to see me playing with this, because the gig is trying to develop superior formulas, better and better and better, and I try. I don't do it all the time because it's a major expense, and I really love my formulas, so I don't really have a need to change them too much. One herb company told us the FDA had blocked all these other herbs, so I made a change, but I will probably bring them back in other formulas, because there's nothing like poke and chaparral. These are the great herbs. And for FDA to make claims like that shows their ignorance, and just, you know, there is way too much weight on the pharmaceutical side. For the FDA is so involved in criminal activity, in my opinion, that if they want to come on this side, it's not going to be a pretty picture, because it's time the world gets a real view of what vaccines have been doing, what a lot of these pharmaceuticals. Thank God you're hearing on the TV when they have a commercial, what's going on there. And if you'll listen for the word fatal events, that means just from taking a pharmaceutical. So like I said, if you have out of a Lipitor kills, let's say 200,000 people, that's acceptable, because supposedly it helped 500 million people control their cholesterol. And yet it didn't stop strokes and heart attacks, because it only suppresses liver and creates liver damage. And it's so bad. It's so bad out there, and yet so accepted that it's regurgitating. It's vomitous. And it's part of the decay of the human species. And we just have to stop that.
They're not here.
So I keep on rolling. Okay. Now let me know when they're coming in, and then I'll stop and we'll decide. I want to get as much covered as I can.
Yep.
Thank you, Mercy. This is Katie. What do you recommend for natural pain reliever? I've heard arnica, Montana. Well, what's the one that I tell you, sometimes that's the one I like the best for pain. I mean, you can use lettuce, and you can use, there's just a lot, willow, you know, which is aspirin. You can use a lot of these, but there's one that is the big painkiller, and I can't remember its name right now. So I'll get back with you on this one. You've got belladonna. These are more homeopathics that you're mentioning here, dear. Echinacea purpurea. I don't know about that for pain. I wouldn't use that for pain. But it looks like a good formula, but this is a homeopathic formula. Homeopathics I like, absolutely, for pain and things like that. Arnica is good for sprains and stuff like that, not for like headache pain or acid pain. Any of the nervines like California poppy, valerian are also good for pains, antispasmodics. Even skull caps has antispasmodic properties and stuff. So any antispasmodic is good for pain, or antispasmodic tincture, the pain. But again, that's for minimal pain. When you start getting above into more severe pain, you know, opium, poppy, you know, those sort of things. I'm just saying. Better than morphine sulfate, which kills a lot of people. But I'm telling you, I've had 7 kidney stones, and a little morphine did wonders. It didn't get rid of it, but it sure took the head off. I am a fighter. I wrestle, spar, and I do martial arts. Ah, okay. I used to carry my bag around with me for years because I used to enjoy martial arts. I took martial arts for years, enjoyed it, enjoyed the balance that it brought me. So I've always thought martial arts great for most people to know. I used to always take Epsom salt baths for my sore and strained muscles. If you've done martial arts, then have you heard of the word Dit Jin Jiao? You know, I had a naturopath with me as a partner for a number of years, and he was actually shot and killed by a massage therapist. But he was a naturopath, but he was grand champion for years. He was 7th Dung, and he had the Korean and the Japanese, I forget the 5th and 6th Dung, but these were incredible. To get the higher levels, one thing he told me he had to do was take a sword and chop a bull's head off with one whack. Now, that grossed me out. But this guy was in all the magazines, breaking all the blocks and everything like that. And he brought me some Dit Jin Jiao. And Dit Jin Jiao will take the pain, and these are old secret formulas coming out of the old Chinese people. And this Dit Jin Jiao takes the pain and swelling immediately out. Incredible. I hoarded that for years, and I gave those people that needed it here and there. Finally, I don't have any more, but what an incredible recipe that was. You'd never know the recipe. These are prized recipes, but Dit Jin Jiao, incredible stuff. Well, here's the thing. Don't be a protein pumper and do this, because you'll find more soreness and stiffness when you're doing this. In activity and all this, you're creating a lot of acidosis. So always want to be on that high fruit. And if you're into martial arts, you're into speed and quickness and balance. That's when you want to be on these high raw foods. And then rebuild the muscles with vegetable matter, and you'll see a much faster muscle, a much more powerful muscle, and you will not get that stiffness, soreness, and tightness like you're doing. Get away from protein pumping. If you want to use anything, get the antlers. Whoops. Can we use those? Get like the Ultimate Immune with the ginseng and the velvet antler in there. If you want to really strengthen your body up, get the velvet antlers, get the ginsengs. I've got a real cellular proliferator coming with the astragalus and all the goodies. And I highly recommend the Hoshu Wu or the Foti, all these powerful, powerful herbs on the planet. Woo-hoo! That one I'm excited about. That's going to be a major cellular proliferator. Start focusing that way for your power. It'll keep the peace, it'll keep the quietness, it'll keep the accuracy and the speed. If you're wrestling, it'll keep all that pain out of there and keep the kidneys going. If you're trying to do this pumping proteins, you're going to still lose your kidneys. After watching your videos and finding out there is sulfur in that, I didn't want to do that anymore, absolutely. But I don't know how to alleviate the pain and sore muscles. Well, you know, again, detoxify, bring in the fruit, bring in the alkaline chemistry. And the more that you detoxify your lymph system, you won't have that, because as you create it, you'll move it out. But right now, that's telling me your kidneys are somewhat obstructed, you're not filtering your lymph system, and so you're getting that systemic acidosis. This is a common athlete problem, and the problem is if you're not on raw and cleaning that lymph system out, this will lead to RA or some type of arthritis, because you'll lose your kidneys. That pain and stiffness will get worse and worse and worse, and pretty soon it won't go away. And that's the problem. So detoxification is the key here shortly after this. After you spar, after you work out, go on a fruit fast. You know, and clean these acids out, all this lactic acid and all this stuff out of you. I strained my calves last week, and also while you're doing this, check for parathyroid, because you're getting banged, you're getting hit, you're getting it. Check for parathyroid gland. Make sure you have strong connective tissue, and make sure you're utilizing calcium properly. That'd be my last one, especially straining the calves or anything like that, tendons, stuff. I had pain in my calves, making it hard to walk, but I didn't want to soak in Epsom salt anymore. Well, get a mineral, get a salt like Celtic salt, something like that, Himalayan salt, and do that, and you should be fine there. And work that out. Oh, this is Liz, a female. Ooh, I'd like to know that one. Look at that, man, a butt-kicking female, huh? This is Kenneth. It's me again. I am on day 24, a predominantly juice fast. 5 gold stars to you, Kenneth. Hopefully I make 60 days, maybe even 90. Well, this is an older thing. This is February 1st, so he'd be on a little further. Hypogonadism, fatty liver, low adrenal function, sinus problems, and withering energy. So here we go. You know, you're going into the adrenal glands, the kidneys. If you're not careful, you're going to get prostatitis from this. The same thing as women's would get ovarian cysts. And so you want to build that up there, you know, and work on these. The fatty liver tells you immediately what? That your lymph system in your liver isn't filtering. And what's coming in to help with the acidosis? Lipids. And you can get a fatty kidney, fatty liver, fatty heart, fatty brain, fatty everything. Because lipids are anti-inflammatory. So when you start to realize that, you say, uh-oh, I'm getting fat buildup, immediately, acidosis, oh, my lymph isn't moving, oh, my kidneys aren't filtering, oh, my adrenals are not allowing my kidneys to filter. See how it goes? And then start going after that. 15 days into the fast, I gradually felt my energy returning. Imagine that, returning on a fast. Must be something weird about that, right? You guys are really seeing it, and I'm real proud of every one of you. I want you to know that. You guys are really doing a good job on yourselves. You're breaking some of these ridiculous myths that came about in I don't know how. Closed-minded, unaware people. My sinus headaches disappeared about day 16 on the fast. Again, your sinus, again, tied to fatty liver. This is all tied together. And see how all this is tied together? This is congestion. This is mucus. This is the lymph system. You're not filtering. Clean up your bowels, by the way, because that liver shows. Remember how we talk about the GI tract is the trunk of the tree? The liver is a branch. The pancreas is a branch. The spleen is a branch. The head is a branch. The lungs are branches. The hearts are branches. Clean up the gut. To drain this, clean up the GI tract and clean up the kidneys and things, and you'll be good with that. For a while, on occasion, my pee smelled like acid. That means you're eliminating acids, but now even that is going away. Isn't this cool? Kenneth, you're kicking butt, my friend. Gradually, not overnight, the bloating subsided. I can now feel muscular. Let's see. Through the skin of the end, and I can bend over without grunting. My sleep was improved, and surprisingly, I didn't need any more hours. Finally, in one of the most fascinating developments of the fast, my long-term memory and dreams have become increasingly vivid and detailed. Now, what I find is just this gentleman is now experiencing spirituality coming into him, and that's what I'm saying. Dreams become more vivid. You become more aware in them. You participate more. You start controlling them more. I mean, this is just beautiful stuff, Kenneth. Beautiful stuff, my friend. I often think of my high school days since I began the fast. I can now remember very vivid. Look at this guy. This guy's kicking butt. I want to thank. Oh, thanks, Kenneth. Thank you so much. Houston, Texas. Go Houston, Texas. See what I'm saying, Kenneth? Good job, man. 5 gold stars, son. You really did a good job. I'm going to have to close up because this young man's coming in here, but my God, I have I'll never catch up, guys. Forgive me so much. I'll try to get to you. Someday I'm just going to come in here and take all day and film for 8 hours or more. I'm going to have to catch up here. But I'm hoping that I'm crossing with people that have other symptoms like this that I can help you with. But hang in there, guys. You'll get it. You guys are getting it. It's a process. And you're learning that there is no treatment-based thinking that is effective and gives you remedy. So you guys are working it out. And in working it out, you're growing spiritually. And you're getting your joys back. You're getting your memories back. You're getting your health back. You're getting your bodies back. And you're getting your ability to become aware back. Nothing is any better than all of those things. So you're doing real well, all of you. My love goes out to every one of you. Have a great fun day. I don't know. I hope Chris can get this up for us. And I'll always be with you. And remember to always watch your dreams. A lot of activity happens outside of this world. Bye-bye. And good work, every one of you. Great work. Love you all.